Hello, this is Brian Topp, and I will be reading part 1 of The Strange Tale of Dr. 58. The person who created this story is IronGhost. His story has caused over 145,000 views on unexplainedmysteries.com. Hi everyone! Here's part of an extremely long Ouija board session that has generated more than 100 pages of transcript. The first part has been posted on my blog for a while now, and I originally was not going to share it here, well, for a variety of reasons. I don't want to try the patience of the moderators here, and mostly there is so much information that I really don't know what to do with it all. If the mods think this is too long, or whatever, just let me know, or truncate it if you want, or delete it. But a lot of people are private messaging me and emailing me with so many questions. A lot of people can't figure out what's going on in the session, so rather than myself taking the time to offer so many explanations with my limited time, I thought it might be a good idea to throw it open for discussion to many sharp minds here at unexplainedmysteries.com. And you all can weigh in and sort of self-answer your own questions through a discussion process. Once again, I want to state that this is not fiction. I don't consider it so because it is information transcribed directly from Ouija board, not something that I cooked up or thought of. Just information coming across the board while I hold my mind blank as best I can, using my 29 years of Zen and meditation discipline. And my Ouija board partner does not read or write because of a mental handicap. So anyway, without further ado, read, discuss if you feel like it. Opening statement. We cast our minds to the vast universe and seek conversation with anyone who will come forth, who will speak with us. The top began moving with unusual swiftness, choosing letters so rapidly we found it a challenge to keep up in recording them.
I want to speak to someone or something from Minnesota.
Then you're in luck. We are located in Minnesota. We're ordinary people, but we are not things. Who are you?
Dr. 58.
Are you a human being? And are you a doctor?
That's what you can call me.
Call you? Is Dr. 58 your real name?
You can call me that.
Dr. 58 sounds like what we might call an online name or an internet kind of name. Is that what it is?
What is an online and what is internet?
We won't get into that right now. Don't worry about it. Why don't you want to give me your real name?
I'm afraid you may be really from Minnesota.
Why should that frighten you?
Many reasons, as you should know.
I can't think of one reason. Why are you afraid?
So many reasons. For one, just talking to you is illegal. I could go to prison.
Why? That seems totally ridiculous. Where are you located, and who are you?
I am Dr. 58. I'm in New York City. I can't believe this is working. Is this a trick?
I'm not trying to trick you. How is that you're able to communicate with us through the Ouija board?
What is a Ouija board?
A simple device, a flat board inscribed with an alphabet, and another object indicates letters as we touch it, thus spells out what you're telling us. What method are you using to communicate with us?
An oracle. I do not think it would work, but it seems to be working.
Can you describe your oracle?
It is a glass bowl filled with sesame oil. I roll it on the highest grid and it somehow elects glyphs that communicate your message.
Where did you get the glass bowl, and how did you get oil in it?
Glass artisan made it for me.
What is a Hassas grid?
Don't you have it in Minnesota?
I don't think so. Is it a kind of table, objects with symbols on it, or letters on it? Something like that?
No, I don't think you understand.
Note: we decided to not pursue the details of this device or whatever it was. Dr. 58 was using it because I had a feeling it was getting tedious. We wanted to get onto the obvious bigger issues already suggested. Is the use of a Hassas grid a common form of communication in your world?
It is one of the most verticant mysteries. They are extracted apparently from Minnesota. Do you know of them?
Of the Vertigant mysteries? No, we never heard of them or it. You say this is from Minnesota? Where in Minnesota? Please explain.
It is supposed to be from Minnesota. The bad priest returned the Vertex mysteries using his photographic memory. He is one of the few to return from Minnesota, or is to be believed.
Well, something very odd is going on here, and what you say creates so many questions. We hardly know where to start. Who is the mad priest?
He was the Reverend Father Reston Roman, but after he returned from Minnesota, he became known as Old Cave. He is now a homeless wanderer of the street preacher.
That's his name, or nickname. Old Cave? Was he a Catholic priest?
Yes, he was a Catholic, but now he is Old Cave, the ranting street prophet.
That's a strange name, but you say he was one of the few to return from Minnesota, and I presume back to New York where you're currently located. Why is this so unusual? People travel from Minnesota to New York and vice versa all the time.
Jesus, they do?
Well, of course. What's going on here? There's something I'm not getting. Let me ask you this. What year is it?
1951.
It is the year 1951, and you're located in New York City? Well, we're in Minnesota, and the year is 2010.
Holy cow.
So, we're in your future, but still, we don't understand your strange ideas about Minnesota. What do you mean when you say that Old Cave is one of the few to return from Minnesota?
Few who go to Minnesota are ever seen again. It is illegal to go there. It is illegal for me to even be communicating with you, if you really are from Minnesota.
But why? Minnesota's part of the United States, just as New York is. What's the big deal?
Jesus Christ, is that what you think? That Minnesota is part of the United States?
Of course. It may be the year 2010 here, but Minnesota became a state in like 1859, I think. You should know that, right? Or maybe you're some kind of alternative dimension? Do you think it's the case?
Alternative dimension? What is that? But no one considers Minnesota to be the state like any other state.
Well, why not?
I don't think you're being honest with me. Are you really in Minnesota right now?
Yeah, we're in a rural area near a small town in northern Minnesota.
This is crazy anyway. If you're from Minnesota, I don't know what to think.
But why?
Everything that goes on inside Minnesota is the biggest mystery in the world.
How long has this been the situation?
It's always been like that.
Well, what about Iowa?
What about it?
Well, Iowa's just south of Minnesota. It borders our state on the south. How do you feel about Iowa?
Iowa is a normal, boring farm state. It's Minnesota, just to the north of it, and it's a big mystery.
Can people travel from Iowa to Minnesota? I mean, in my world, people cross back and forth the Iowa-Minnesota border all the time.
That's ridiculous. You can approach Minnesota from Iowa, but you can only get so close. And anyone who dares to go in Minnesota is either brave, crazy, or just suicidal.
Again, all I can say is, why? This seems to be ridiculous.
No one really understands what's happened inside Minnesota. We only know that it's weird and dangerous.
Like what, for example?
Everything. The Doppelgangers.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I mean, I know what a doppelganger is. A doppelganger is a double of a person, or something like that. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, the Doppelgangers that come out of Minnesota. Are you a troll?
Heavens no. I'm an ordinary person. Trolls are mythical creatures.
Is that what you think?
Yeah. You have to explain this. We can't figure out what you're talking about here. Start with the doppelgangers that you say coming out of Minnesota. What is about that?
When some people manage to enter Minnesota, they don't come back out. But sometimes exact double comes back out.
Dr. 58, are you delusional? Are you in a mental institution in New York?
No, I'm an ordinary kid of the normal mind.
You're a kid. How old are you?
17.
Well, tell us more about this doppelganger problem, could you?
God, I don't know if I should be talking about this.
We mean you no harm. We only want to communicate with interesting people. We're not doppelgangers. Tell us more about Minnesota doppelgangers, will you?
There was a horrible case recently. There was a horrible case here recently.
Please, Dr. 58, tell us more about it. Don't be afraid.
You can't place the hex on me. I have enacted Protocol 13 of the Verdantic Mysteries.
Fine! We will not put a hex on you anyway. We don't know how to administration a hex. Will you please tell us more about this horrible incident with the doppelganger?
A man! His name was Corral Tendit. He made an illegal entrance into Minnesota. 3 months later he came out, but it wasn't him.
Was it a doppelganger, like a doppelganger?
Yes, a perfect doppelganger.
Well, if he's a perfect doppelganger, as you say, how do you know it really was? Maybe it was just Carl Tendit who came to Minnesota and returned. Maybe this is just a superstition on your part.
Something horrible happened.
What happened?
Carl Tendit returned and escaped prosecution for going to Minnesota and returned to his wife.
Well, if you say that it's so illegal to go to Minnesota, even to speak about someone from Minnesota, how is Carl Tendit not prosecuted?
Because of the Constitution, he has legal rights.
But he didn't break the law by going to and returning from Minnesota, and therefore violate your Constitution and laws?
Yes, but it could be not proven he was in Minnesota, and there was no way to know he was a doppelganger.
Are you saying he got some good lawyers and managed to beat the rap of having to go to Minnesota and returned?
Yes, exactly.
Well, how do you know he went to Minnesota for sure?
That's obvious. He turned out to be a doppelganger.
Huh. Do you have some kind of test for doppelgangers, like a blood test, or some kind of DNA scan?
The blood would not tell what is DNA.
Never mind about DNA. It has to do with what we know about biology here in our world. It's scientific. But tell us what's so horrible about this whole doppelganger situation with Carl Tendit, would you?
His ignorant wife took him back. A month later she became pregnant. I'm afraid to speak of this.
Please don't be afraid. Perhaps Protocol 13 of the Verdantic Mysteries will protect you. Did something strange happen with her pregnancy?
When she was giving birth, Carl Tendit accompanied to the hospital in a delivery room with medical people. Carl Tendit excused himself. No.
Note, there was a long pause, so he kept prodding Dr. 58 to continue. He finally did. What happened then, Dr. 58?
Carl Tendit said he was nervous about the trauma of witnessing his wife in birth. He left the birthing room. He said he was going to the bathroom. He was never seen again.
And then what happened? Did his wife give birth to a baby?
No.
Well, what happened?
She gave birth to a troll lava.
What? Wow. What's a troll lava? What does it look like?
Like a big insect lava, white, fat, and squirmy.
That sounds absolutely disgusting and horrible. So does this lava hatch into a troll later? And what do you mean by a troll?
You claim to be from Minnesota, but do not know trolls?
We know as mythical creatures. They are not real. They're humanoid, I suppose. But basically, we would think of a troll as a kind of mythical creatures, like a fairy or an elf. They might have green skin and pointy ears, and stuff like that. They might have lumpy faces or warts and such. But they're just fairy tales. We do not consider them to be real. At least, vast majority of people do not. Does this sound like what you think of as a troll? I should ask. Our mythical trolls do not generally start out as an insect larva into our tales.
Carl Tendit's wife gave birth to a troll lava, which later hatched into a troll nymph.
I mean, what happens in your world when a human woman gives birth to a troll?
It was taken to the government science station for a study. It molted rapidly from nymph to adult troll. It is believed to have escaped. It was never seen again. But no one believes that. We think the authorities know what happened, but they are not talking.
And that's the end of the first part of The Strange Tale of Dr. 58. If you're interested in subscribing, click on the top left corner. Or, if you click on the top right corner, hopefully you'll be there, it will be part 2. Or if you want to go to unexplainedmysteries.com and see for yourself, click on the link below.